Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing this Friday evening? I hope everyone is well. As you guys come in, I'm getting ready. And I hope that you guys like the story tonight. It's a really good one. I'm really super excited about it. I'm just going to wait for people to come in. I'm going to set up my laptop. Hey, Freddie, how are you? I was just setting up things. Mine. Are you having a good night? Hey, Lorna, how are you? Are you having a good evening? Is everyone well? Are you guys excited about Halloween? You guys got plans? I'm actually pretty good tonight. Of course, it was like a super busy day. My kids had like parent teachers conferences today, and my whole morning and afternoon was like at the school meeting my kids as teachers, which they're doing well. It was all good conferences, which is so good. But it was a long day at the school. What did everybody else do? I'm just gonna clean my face real quick. Oh, nice. That's always nice. I don't really have plans. My kids are gonna be with their dad. I did get invited to go to one of my new coworkers' house to pass out candy and hang out with her. So I don't know if I'm going to do that. I haven't decided. I have no idea what I'm doing. So we'll see. We will see. You tried to take a nap, but it was a no-go. Oh, okay. Is she doing better with with her ankle? I hope that's helping her. Because I know that can be tough, like being not at home. So I hope that she's doing well there. She has 2 more surgeries. Oh my. Sending prayers for your mom and for you. Because I know that has to be super stressful that your mom has to go through all that. So just sending tons of prayers. And I hope that she heals quickly and gets out of there when she starts feeling better, and that, she just does well. Because I know that it has to be exhausting for you. Both. So tonight's story is, well, it's not an uplifting story, but I figure you guys probably know that by the title of tonight. It's Martha Moxley. Anybody ever heard of this case, Martha Moxley? It happened quite a while ago. Anybody heard of it? I'm just curious. And then I have another question for you after that. Because I know where I grew up, they didn't. Does anybody know what Mischief Night is? Like, heard of that? Not sure. Have anybody ever done Mischief Night in their town? Okay. Okay. I've never heard of Mischief Night, the night before Halloween where kids play pranks and everything like that. I never did that. Did you guys ever do Mischief Night the night before Halloween? The fires? I think that it kind of got out of hand. Like, people kind of took it out of, you know, start fires, But I think that back in the day, it was just like pulling pranks and, toilet papering houses kind of thing. Not really. Mischief on my channel. Okay. Yeah. So I think that it was not like setting fires until like later. But yeah, so Mischief Night was like the night before Halloween, and kids just pulled pranks. And then I think later on it kind of got out of hand. Yeah. Well, I never did that. I never did pulling pranks or anything. Of course, I grew up way out in the country in a really small town. So that's probably why. So nobody could probably find our house to pull a prank on us. So, like, you know, perks of being out in the country, I guess. They'd have to know where to find your house to pull a prank on you. So my mom would have been so mad if anybody would have toilet papered the house in the first place. She would have been livid. But but anyway, so never did that. You grew up in the sticks too. So you know what I mean. Yeah, we never did that. So anyway, this story obviously takes place on Mischief Night, the night before Halloween. But before we get into all that, we're going to go into like the background of them. And also, there is a big connection with who the people are related to in this story. The Kennedys. There's a Kennedy connection in this story, which, everybody knows who the Kennedys are. I don't think there's hey, Jamie, how are you? Hey, Matthew. You're not fat. And McDonald's is amazing. I love their French fries. Okay. Yes, I might need some brandy ready. Too bad I don't drink, But anyway, so yeah. So let's get into the background of Martha Moxley to get this story started. Okay, so Martha Moxley and her family moved from California to Greenwich, Connecticut 18 months earlier before her murder. Her parents are David and Dorothy And then she had a 17-year-old brother named John. I'm glad you're doing good. David was made senior partner at a New York accounting firm, and they lived at Belle Haven. And it was a very fancy neighborhood. Like I said, there's some connections, like their neighbors were related to the Kennedys in Connecticut here. And it was, the nickname was the richest corner of town. So you guys can all picture how the houses, I mean, they were probably very, oh, your surgery's November 2nd? We'll be sending prayers for you, Jamie. I hope that will make you feel better. Okay, so they had private security there, and it seemed like the perfect place to raise a family. And it seemed really safe. It was a gated community. Nothing bad ever happened there. And Martha had a lot of friends. She was very well liked. She was a very popular girl. She was very beautiful. One thing I need to look up. I know I looked it up and I forgot to write it down. It was like the time. I wrote everything else, but I forgot the date. Go figure. Okay, so it was 1975, October 30th, 1965 was the night before Halloween. So I just wanted to give you guys the year. So 1975. So you kind of knew the time year. I cannot talk the year that we're talking about. Okay. So Martha, she was also voted best personality in school. And so that evening she was going to go with her friends for mischief night and party with her friends Sheila and Helen at 6:30 p.m. And then it was October 30th, 1975. Martha Moxley went with her friends to participate in mischief night, which the neighborhood kids would ring doorbells and pull pranks, which toilet paper in kids' house, people's houses, ringing doorbells and running away, like not really horrible stuff. I mean, it was just really, harmless pranks. And then Thomas Skakel and her older brother, was the older brother of Michael Skakel, and they lived across the street from Martha. And the Skakels are related to the Kennedys. And we'll get into all that, but that's all important information in this story. So Moxley's friends said that Martha was flirting with Thomas and that they were kissing and that they were last seen. This is the last anybody ever seen Martha alive. They fell together behind the fence with Thomas near the pool at the Skakels' backyard at 9:30 p.m. And so Thomas was the last person to see Martha alive. What do you guys think so far? What's your guys' thoughts? Hello. I said hi earlier when you came in, really, really quickly. And hi, everybody else that came in. If I didn't say hi, oh, you. No, it's very interesting. Oh, you're still at McDonald's. Okay, so I gotta turn pages. Sorry. So Dorothy, Martha's mom, was home alone that evening, and and I saw in the interview she was saying that Martha was grounded that whole week, but since Martha was being good, that she let her go out with her friends that night, and yeah. But anyway, so Dorothy was home alone that night, and David was away on business. John also went out with his friends that evening, to parties. I know. I was trying not to think about the fact that he was at McDonald's, and that sounded really good. So I was like, don't think about it. Don't think about but she said around 9:30 or 10 p.m. that she heard a commotion. But she didn't like really go and investigate. She just kind of heard a commotion. And so she took a shower, went downstairs at 11 p.m. She watched the news. John came in, and then she started watching a movie, but she fell asleep. And then at 2 a.m., Dorothy, she realized that, oh, I'm sorry that you're nervous about your surgery. So at 2 a.m., she realized that Martha wasn't home and that she wasn't back. And so she had John go look her. She woke up John and had him go look for his sister. And so Dorothy started calling everyone, started with her friend Sheila and like, where's Martha? No one knew where Martha was. So she called the Skakel home. And which was across the street, and the when they when she called, they said, oh well, she's not here, that you should try Jimmy's house because everybody went over there after they left here, so she might have went over there. So she did call Jimmy's house, and they were like, we haven't seen Martha here either. And so after that, she filed a police report to report Martha missing. And then this is when Dorothy decided to just go over to the Skakel house because that was the last place that they seen her. And so she went over, and she didn't ever meet them in person. But she knew who they were. Because they were related to the Kennedys. Their aunt was Ethel Kennedy, who was the widow of Robert F. Kennedy. And so everyone knew who they were. And the Skakel house had 7 children. Their mother passed away, and the father lived there, but he left the kids unsupervised. And Michael answered the door. He was 15, and she said he looked very hungover. And he just, could care less about helping her. Like, he didn't want to be bothered. And so she asked if he had seen Martha. He was like, no. And she asked if she could look around, and the employee said that nobody's seen her. And then she asked if she could look in the Winnebago. You were starving. It's okay. Get you some McDonald's. In the Winnebago on the grounds. And the employee said that they would look for her, but nobody would let her search for her on the property. And but nobody saw Martha. And so she went back home, and later that day at 12:30 p.m., Sheila, Martha's best friend, found her body. Let me fill my brows in. Yeah. So what does everybody think so far? Before I get into the next part, because it's kind of, I mean, the damn Kennedy connection, right? Do you think it's one of the brothers? Just curious. What's your guys' thoughts? Thomas or Michael? What's your vote? Thomas or Michael? I love your answer, though, Freddie. Damn Kennedys. I love that. I know, so I can't. But anyway, so at 12:30 p.m., Sheila finds Martha's body under the large pine right on the Moxley's property. And she went back to the Moxley house to tell Dorothy that she found her and that she was dead. And then they found her. She was laying face down with her pants and panties pulled down around her knees, and she was beaten to death. Her face was bruised and her hair was matted with blood. In the police, like in some of the interviews, it said that the police officers could not tell what color her hair was. She was a really beautiful blonde girl, and they could not tell the color of her hair because that the blood was all in her hair so much that you couldn't even see the hair color of her hair. There was a broken golf club beside her body, and the killer also stabbed the broken part in her neck. Okay, so I just think that is so horrible. And then the poor mom saw that, and her friends saw that. Like, it was horrible for them all to see that. I just think it's like horrible. And then it was believed that the murder weapon was a golf club. Obviously, they found it. And there was also traced back to the Skakel home. It was believed to be Ann Skakel's, Thomas's mother's. It was the number 6 iron, because that was the one that was missing from Ann's set. But the police did not get a search warrant ever. No search warrant was ever issued for the Skakel home. So they never got the golf set ever. Um, that just kind of blows my mind that they never got a search warrant, knowing that connection, that was like the the thing that was like that linked them already, and that wasn't. Anyway, oh, it's buffering. But anyway, let me know if it does it again. Hi, Melanie. So, yeah, so they never got a search warrant, and then Thomas was the last person to ever see Martha alive. So the police spoke to him, and they were like, "What happened that night?" And he said that he was with Martha until 9:30 p.m. that night, and he went to the after they made out for a while. He went in the house and started watching the French Connection. Started watching the French Connection, and then with Kenneth Littleton, and then did homework. And he said he saw Martha start walking to her house, and the police wanted the school records and the mental health records for Thomas, but the father denied the police access to that, so they never got those. Kenneth Littleton was a tutor for the boys at the Skakel home, and he said that was true, that Thomas was watching, that they did watch the French Connection that evening. So that part of the story was true. And so nothing ever, the case went cold. So 23 years later, the case was reopened. Martha's family tried everything, various ways to get the case reopened. They fought for Martha, for justice for Martha, and finally the big break came in 1992. Yes. And so what happened was, and this is like so ironic, so the Skakels decided to hire a private investigator to prove that it was not Thomas, and that there had to be another suspect in this case, and that it was not Thomas Skakel, that there had to be another suspect. So let's hire private investigators to prove that it was not Thomas. All right. So they start digging into it, and it proves him innocent, but then they proved that it was Michael Skakel. And so then all the evidence leaks out to the reporters, and so that's how the case got brought up again, that it was actually Michael that was guilty of Martha's murder, and that they had the wrong Skakel all along. So it was Michael all along. No, I don't think that they humped her ears. That is super weird. Super weird. But I'm sure that there's probably a weirdo that did that. Anyway, so what do you guys think about this irony in that the guy that they hired to investigate to like want to prove that it wasn't one son, but pretty much set up their other kid. I thought it was kind of funny. I mean, but anyway, So, so yeah. And those reports became called the Sutton reports. I forgot to mention that. So the Sutton reports are the what they were called. So what do you guys think about that? Any thoughts? Crappy parent. Well, I'm telling you, this Kennedy connection, like they really just thought that they could get away with it because of that Kennedy connection, and that they could use that as their like way to get away with everything. Oh, we're Kennedys. Oh, like isn't that stupid? Oh no, kind of their buttholes. Anyway, so and Thomas' story never changed. Thomas' story, 23 years, stayed the same. Him and Martha made out. She left for home around 9:30, 10 p.m. He watched a movie, French Connection, did homework. That was his story, never changed. Michael, on the other hand, his story was he said, first story was, I was at my cousin's house. I wasn't even home. That was his first story. Never saw Martha that night, blah, blah, blah. And then 23 years later, oh, I was there. But this is his new story. So his new story goes, he climbed a tree because he liked to peep into women's windows and jack off. And yeah, so he climbed up a tree to watch Martha in her window, but she wasn't home. So he just jerked off and climbed back down, which puts him at the crime scene. But, he's still saying he was innocent. Okay, so thoughts on that? Anybody? I'm laughing because I just think he's so horrible. He's so horrible. I just can't believe how horrible this person is. I know, Michael did it. In my opinion. Lies, all lies. Anyways, in our opinion, Michael is totally guilty. And he definitely was there. So then they also discovered that in the time of the murder, he was never a suspect because he said he wasn't there. And then the time of the murder took place much later than the investigators originally thought, because you're going to come to find out that they were horrible at investigating this crime scene. So much was the police did a horrible job with this. So all the evidence at the crime scene was not collected properly. There was blood on leaves besides Martha's body that was never collected. Like I said, the clubs at the Skakel home never was taken, even though they knew that was a match from the one at the crime scene. They did not take those. Never got a search warrant. Like there was like a million things that they did not do in this crime scene. So a ton of evidence, like just completely gone. First on the scene, said that the golf club handle was sticking out of Martha's neck. And when they got there, nobody knew what happened to it after they started cleaning up the accident. So that totally like disappeared. So that's kind of weird. I mean, who was running this whole investigation should have probably been fired, for one. I mean, for real. Like, this horrible, horrible police officers, right? So then, and because that the golf club would have had like fingerprints on it from the killer, and also the initials of the original owner would have also been on the club, so that would have maybe traced back to the Skakel home. So, but yeah, since it went missing from the crime scene, they yeah so like I said, they did a horrible job with the crime scene. I don't know what kind of cops they had there, but obviously they really dropped the ball on that one. Really bad. In 1997, an autopsy, they reviewed it. They just reviewed the autopsy, and details that really conflicted with the police report initially. I mean, I'm not shocked with that after all that. The killer will use such force that the golf club broke into two pieces, that the police also overlooked the stab wound in her neck. They just overlooked that, apparently, and that the blood in her lungs, which means that she was still alive when he or she stabbed her in the throat. Yeah, somebody was paid pretty well for that. I agree with you. That's what I thought when I was reading it. I was like, yeah, that sounds like somebody paid well for that. Did somebody check their bank account? They can, like, the Skakel's bank accounts. Just saying. Did they check the dad's bank accounts during all this to make sure there wasn't like a loss of money or anything? A big payout to somebody, to some cop? I don't know. I'm just saying. She was hit 8 or 9 times over the head, and the club was a rare Tony Penna number 6 iron, and it was the same set at the Skakel home, and that it was missing the number 6 iron. I mean, coincidence, right? Totally weird that it was the same one missing. So, thoughts? Anybody has thoughts so far? Any more thoughts? I love Freddie's about the paid well. That was good. Oh, hold on. Let me get Brownie. She's outside. I put her out right before I started. So let me know if you guys have any thoughts, and then I'll look at them right when I get back. sleazy family. Yes, it is a sleazy family cover-up. Totally. I totally am with you on that. I just think it's horrible. And it's taken 23 years for this much information to come out. Those damn Kennedys. Okay, and then, like I said, Michael changed his alibi. His first alibi initially said he did not see Martha at his house. He went to a party. He said he was at his cousin's house between 9:30 and 10:15 that evening. So then, all of a sudden, changed his alibi. He later said he was window peeping, as he did quite often. Which, is that not disturbing that he admits to like going to windows and peeping and like jerking off? I mean, is that not a little disturbing that he does that often? Just say. He said that he went to Martha's, climbed a tree, threw rocks at her window, but she didn't look out, and he said he jerked off and left. He put himself right at the crime scene. But is that not disturbing? That he's just like goes to windows, jerks off. Just saying. Definitely something wrong with that guy. I mean, he's a weirdo. Okay, shortly after Martha's murder, Michael was arrested for DUIs. He was put in rehab, and he was moved from place to place, a lot of different rehabs, because he kind of developed quite a bit of a drinking habit after Martha's murder. And there were some witnesses that said that he kind of had a big mouth. And he said that he was, he admitted to killing Martha, and that he would not be convicted because he was a Kennedy, and that it happened that he was blacked out drunk, and that's when he killed her, is that he was blacked out drunk. Remember, they didn't collect any DNA. Bad police work. That's why they didn't have any DNA evidence. All the blood at the scene of the crime. Horrible police investigation. Just really, the murder weapon suddenly disappeared. Okay, so Michael was finally charged with the crime May 2002, 27 years after the murder. He finally goes to trial. 27 years later. Can you believe that it took 27 years for him to go to trial? Her poor family. Like, that breaks my heart for her family. 27 years that he's just been walking around, living life, thinking he's getting away with it. I just think, it makes me so mad. What's your guys' thoughts on that? 27 years. He's gotten away with it. What do you think? Anyway, amazing to me. Or the eye look is amazing. Anyway, so then David Moxley, her father, never got to see this because he died of a heart attack when he was 57 years old. So he never got to see the trial. But Dorothy, she sat there every day through the trial and she was there. She heard every testimony, saw every crime scene photo, looked at that piece of shit every day, every day. I mean, she was really fought for her daughter on this. Like, and in the interviews, oh my gosh, she's a strong lady. But anyway, so prosecutor's case, they said this is what they think went down. Both Michael and Thomas liked Martha. Michael got super jealous that Martha and Thomas were making out. He left, got drunk, came back, saw Martha leaving, grabbed the club, followed her, hit her first on the driveway because there was a little bit of blood left on the driveway. And then he dragged her over by the tree and just started going nuts and hitting her harder. And then the club broke. And the blows were they pierced Martha's skull and brain. And then he stabbed her in the neck. Because he was so furious that she picked Thomas over him. I look like a badass. Thanks. Okay, so the doctor that did the forensics said that there was no semen in her pubic area or on her buttocks, but there was reddish marks on top of her left inner thighs and same on her right, which consist with bloody hands trying to push her legs apart. And they think he panicked when he must have saw like some movement at the Moxley house, like somebody coming outside, and he panicked and stopped what he was doing and like ran away. And the witness that said Michael confessed, I'm going to get away with murder. I'm a Kennedy. Piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. Witness from the rehab said he made advances. This is what he said. This is what he told the guy at rehab. Michael said he made advances at this girl that spurred him, and he drove her skull in with a golf club in a wooden area near his house. Sounds like a confession to me. Okay, so prosecution had Martha's diary. And she talked about Thomas and Michael. And Michael was upset with her, saying that she was leading his brother on and that she didn't like Thomas. And that here, I'll read it. So September 1975. Michael was totally out of it. He was being a real asshole in his actions and words. He kept telling me I was leading Tom on when I don't like him, except as friends. I said, how about you? You and Jackie, you are all over her and you don't like her. He doesn't understand that I can be nice but Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. You don't keep telling me you don't like her and you are all over. He doesn't understand that you can be nice to her without hanging all over her. Michael jumps to conclusions. I can't be friends with Tom, and just because I talk to him, it doesn't mean I like him. I really have to stop going over there. Here. Okay. Here. Okay. I did not understand that. I don't have my glasses on, so I have to read that. I can't use that. Okay. I think I understood that, but I might not. So what do you guys think so far of like his confession? What she said in her diary? What do you guys think? You were making it correct. Oh, Mike, thank you. Thank you. Please correct me. Thank you. Yes, please correct me because I needed that. And then I can even I do not have my glasses on right now, so I can, seeing. I cannot see. Anyway, so what do you guys think so far? I know it's super crazy. It's so crazy. I'm just going to put this. I just think, oh my gosh, I can't stand that, Michael. Hey, Jean. Okay, so I'm just trying to finish my eyes real quick so I can, see. Because I can't read my notes and do mascara at the same time. Okay. So then the defense comes in and they're like, well, there's no direct evidence. That's their and they decide that they need to find somebody to point their fingers at. So they point their fingers at Ken Littleton, the tutor. That's who killed Martha, right? So they're like, it was him. That's the killer. Oh, you're making me hungry. McDonald's sounds so good. You're gonna make me have to run to McDonald's after this. Anyway, so then the jury came back 3 days later, found Michael Skakel guilty of murder of Martha Moxley, and he was 15 at the time, but they did charge him as an adult, and he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. But okay, So Dorothy said, leaving the court, "This day is for Martha," but it's not over. The story's far from over. So Michael appealed the conviction in 2016. The judge vacated the conviction. So Michael was set free. Yep. Free as a bird. But then 2018, prosecutors asked the Connecticut Supreme Court to revoke Skakel's bail, return him to prison to finish his sentence. So they went back and forth. And October 30th, 2020, Chief State Attorney Richard I don't know how to say it, informed the Superior Court Skakel would not be retried. He will remain a free man. So he's free. And he does not have to return to prison or anything. It's BS. It's BS. Okay, and here is another little tidbit about this case that I find super interesting. Mark Furman, does that name ring any bells to any other famous cases? Your state sucks big time. Does anybody know Mark Furman? Does that name ring a bell to anybody? Mark Furman? O.J. Simpson. Yes. O.J. Simpson. Mark Furman is the cop from O.J. Simpson trials. So after Mark Furman obviously lost his career, he wrote a book about what happened in the O.J. Simpson trial. And in his second book was The Murder in Greenwich, about Martha Moxley murder, and which that is what kind of got Martha Moxley's case re-investigated and got the trial re-going, and it was because of Mark Furman. So, and then there was a movie. It was turned into a movie in 2002, a TV movie. Hey, hobbyist, how are you? Are you having a good night? So, yep. So Mark Furman. So there's another big connection within this case. So what do you guys think about everything? The Kennedys, him getting convicted, getting away, then getting that appeal, all of it. I want to know thoughts. You just got here. I'm glad you're here. You're talking about Martha Moxley, her case, for anybody that did just come in. I know. I have a problem with talking. I don't say things correctly a lot. I really do not say things correctly. And so just bear with me when I say things. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everybody in Connecticut or on the East Coast for my not saying it correctly. My bad. Greenwich. Greenwich. I don't know how to say it. I'm not very good. It looks like it's pronounced that way. See, I just see like the green part and I want to pronounce it like that. So that's why I say it like that. So it's my bad. And I admit it that I will, and I always say that I will probably pronounce a lot of things wrong. And that is totally true. So I know Matthew's way better at pronouncing it probably, but he's like he's closer to Connecticut and everything and closer to that area. I have never even been to the East Coast. I actually have never even heard of that town before I read this story. So that could probably also be part of it. You do have one in New Jersey? See, I figured. Well, yes. Yes. That is exactly true, hobbyist. And apparently in one area exactly, and that's where the story took place. Oh, thank you so much. It is where WWE headquarters. I didn't know that. I mean, tells you how much WWE I watch. All right. So the story is done. My look is done. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. And you guys have a wonderful Friday, the rest of your Friday evening. And I will see you guys next Friday for Slumber Party. And have a wonderful weekend. Good night, everybody. Love you guys.